We grew up thinking the space between galaxies was empty. It's not, it's hiding some of the most terrifying things in the universe. Here are 11 of them. Number 11. Rogue stars adrift between the galaxies. For a long time we assumed stars only lived inside galaxies, those bright islands of light scattered across the dark. But in the 1990s, the Hubble Space Telescope caught something faint and wrong. A dim glow hanging in the empty space between galaxies where nothing was supposed to be. That glow turned out to be starlight. Billions of stars drifting completely alone, bound to no galaxy at all, orbiting nothing but the combined gravity of an entire cluster. Astronomers call it intra-cluster light, and the numbers are staggering. In the richest galaxy clusters, somewhere between 10 and 50% of all stars may exist outside any galaxy. The Virgo cluster alone could hold hundreds of billions of these wanderers. They were thrown out during violent collisions, flung into the void at hundreds of kilometers per second by gravity itself, and many of them carried their planets with them. Picture standing on one of those worlds. There's no Milky Way arcing overhead, no neighboring stars, nothing. Just an absolute black sky, broken only by the faintest smudges of galaxies hundreds of millions of light years away. These exiles aren't just debris, they quietly fill the spaces we assumed were empty, a reminder that much of the universe's story plays out not in the bright places, but in the darkness between them. Number 10. And those exiles are drifting through something. In 1970, a Soviet cosmologist named Yakov Zeldovich predicted that the universe wasn't randomly sprinkled with galaxies. It was strung along a vast invisible scaffold of filaments. People doubted him for decades. Then the big galaxy surveys came in, and the picture that emerged was unsettling. The universe looked alive. Matter wasn't scattered evenly. It clung to thin threads stretching hundreds of millions of light years, with galaxy clusters sitting at the intersections like neurons wired into a brain. Here's the strange part. For years, half of the ordinary matter in the universe was simply missing. The stars and gas we could see didn't add up to what the math demanded. In 2020, scientists found it. It had been hiding inside these filaments all along, in the form of a faint, superheated gas called the warm-hot intergalactic medium, an invisible skeleton holding the galaxies in place. And some of these structures are so enormous the universe shouldn't have had time to build them since the Big Bang. The web between galaxies isn't empty. It's the oldest architecture in existence, assembled out of dark matter before the very first star ever lit. Number 9. Now follow those filaments into the gas between galaxies and you hit a problem nobody can fully solve. By every rule we know that gas should be freezing. There are no stars out there to warm it, no explosions, no nearby fires, just a thin scatter of atoms that should sit cold and dead. The math says its temperature should hover in the tens of thousands of degrees at most. But when astronomers actually measured it, the readings shot up to hundreds of thousands, even millions of degrees. The void that should be an icy graveyard is instead burning like the outer atmosphere of a star. Something invisible has been pumping heat into the space between galaxies for billions of years, and we don't fully know what. The best suspects are quasars, monstrous black holes blasting out radiation fierce enough to strip electrons off helium across cosmic distances. Hubble data in 2019 caught the fingerprint of exactly that kind of heating event a few billion years after the Big Bang. But even our best theories and most advanced simulations still can't account for all the heat. The universe stubbornly refuses to let its empty spaces go cold. Number 8. It gets stranger because that void isn't just hot, it's magnetic. In 2010, astrophysicists studying gamma-ray data found evidence of magnetic fields threading through the deepest cosmic voids, regions so empty they hold roughly 1 atom per cubic meter, a vacuum more perfect than anything we can build on Earth. By the laws of physics, magnetic fields need moving charged particles to exist. Out here there's almost nothing to make one, and yet there they are, fields a quadrillion times weaker than a fridge magnet, but stretched coherently across millions of light years. That coherence is the real mystery. These fields line up over distances that simple drift across cosmic time can't explain. So where did they come from? One camp says they're primordial, born in the first seconds after the Big Bang and stretched out as the universe expanded, which would make them older than every star and galaxy that exists. The other says early galaxies and quasars blew them out into the dark. Nobody settled it. But something organized an invisible magnetic grid in the emptiest places in the universe, and it's held that shape across billions of light years. Number 7. Then there are the things in that space that glow on their own. Around the year 2000, astronomers peering into the early universe expected to find ordinary galaxies. Instead, they found enormous ghostly clouds of hydrogen blazing in the dark, and they named them Lyman alpha blobs. The scale is hard to take in. A single one can stretch 400,000 light years, several times wider than our entire galaxy, yet it has no spiral arms, no core, no obvious structure, just a vast veil of gas pouring out the light of hundreds of billions of suns. And for over 20 years, nobody could find what powers them. Hydrogen needs a serious trigger to glow like that, but when astronomers searched the centers of these blobs for a hidden engine, in many cases, they came up empty. The leading idea now is haunting in its own way. The blobs may be cold gas pouring down the filaments of the cosmic web, releasing energy as it falls and converting raw gravity into light. If that's right, these aren't isolated objects at all. They're the places where the void is actively building the galaxies of the future, glowing as ordinary matter assembles out of nothing. Number 6. We keep running into quasars, so let's stop and look at one, because they are the most violent objects in the universe. In 1960, an astronomer studying what looked like an ordinary faint star realized it sat over 2 billion light years away. For a pinpoint to be visible at that distance, it had to be outshining an entire galaxy of hundreds of billions of stars, all from a region no bigger than our solar system. What he'd found was a quasar. At the heart of each one is a supermassive black hole devouring everything around it, squeezing infalling gas into a disk, spinning at nearly light speed and heating it to millions of degrees until it screams across every wavelength from radio to gamma rays. In 2024, astronomers confirmed the most luminous object ever measured, a quasar shining roughly 500 trillion times brighter than the Sun, its black hole swallowing the equivalent of one entire sun every single day. Its light took 12 billion years to reach us, so we're watching a monster from the dawn of time. And quasars don't just shine. They fire jets of plasma millions of light years into intergalactic space, dumping energy into surrounding gas and choking off the formation of new stars. They decide where galaxies are allowed to grow and where they die in silence. Number 5. Now for the opposite of all that brightness, a hole in the universe. In 2004, astronomers mapping the afterglow of the Big Bang spotted something strange in the southern sky. That ancient light is supposed to be almost perfectly even everywhere, but in one patch it ran measurably cold, about 70 millionths of a degree too cold. They called it the cold spot, and it's puzzled cosmologists for decades. In 2015, a team found a possible culprit lined up exactly with it, a supervoid nearly 2 billion light-years across, the largest ever found, containing far fewer galaxies than normal space its size. The idea is that light loses a little energy crossing such an enormous emptiness, leaving a cold patch behind. But the math doesn't fully close. The void alone can't account for how cold the spot really is. That gap has fueled some wild ideas, including the fringe suggestion that the cold spot is a bruise left where our universe collided with another one. That theory sits far outside the mainstream, but follow-up data confirm the anomaly is real and won't filter away. A frozen hole nearly 2 billion light-years wide, where the oldest light in existence runs cold, and our best physics still can't fully say why. Number 4. But the cold spot is a small mystery next to what holds everything together. In the 1970s, astronomer Vera Rubin measured how fast stars orbit the centers of galaxies, and the result broke the rules. Stars at the outer edges should crawl along, just like the outer planets circle the sun more slowly than the inner ones. Instead, they raced around just as fast as stars near the core. The galaxies should have flung themselves apart, but something invisible was holding them together. We now call it dark matter, and it makes up about 27% of the universe, more than 5 times all the ordinary matter in every star and planet and atom combined. Between galaxies, it forms the scaffolding of the cosmic web itself. The unseen filaments galaxies cling to, the hidden gravity behind every large structure. The clearest evidence came in 2006 from two colliding galaxy clusters, where the invisible mass was seen to drift ahead of the visible gas like a ghost passing through a wall. And here's the unsettling part. After 50 years and the most sensitive detectors ever built, we still have never directly caught a single particle of it. The entire architecture of the universe rests on something we cannot see, cannot touch, and cannot identify. Number 3. Dark matter is invisible, but at least it behaves. The next anomaly seems to break the most basic rule in cosmology, that no direction in space is special. When astronomers mapped that ancient afterglow in fine detail, the largest temperature patterns across the sky were supposed to be random. Instead, in 2005, physicists found that the biggest features lined up, carving an invisible axis straight across the cosmos. They gave it a deliberately ominous name, the axis of evil. And what makes it so disturbing is what that axis points along. It aligns almost impossibly with the plane of Earth's own orbit around the Sun. There is no theory that lets the structure of the entire universe care about where our little planet sits. The odds of it happening by chance came out under 1%. People hoped it was a glitch, but when a far more sophisticated satellite scanned the sky years later, the axis was still there, refusing to go away. If it's real and not some trick of our own galaxy's dust, the universe may have a built-in preferred direction, and the principle that all of modern cosmology stands on would start to crack. The oldest light in existence seems somehow to know exactly where we are. Number 2, if the axis of evil bends the rules, this next one rewrites the ending of the entire universe. In 1998, two teams set out to measure how fast cosmic expansion was slowing down, because surely the gravity of all those galaxies was hitting the brakes. They found the exact opposite. The universe isn't slowing. It's speeding up, flying apart faster and faster, driven by some invisible repulsive force, winning against all the gravity in existence. They called it dark energy, and it dominates everything, about 68% of the entire universe, dwarfing both ordinary matter and dark matter. It doesn't clump, doesn't glow, doesn't interact with light in any way. It's woven smoothly into the space between everything, and across vast enough distances, it overpowers gravity completely. The honest truth is, we have no idea what it is. When physicists try to calculate it from quantum theory, they get a number wrong by a factor of 10, followed by 120 zeros, the worst prediction in the history of science. And it's deciding our fate. Right now, dark energy is pushing distant galaxies away faster and faster, and one day their light will no longer reach us at all. The night sky will go dark, cold, and alone. Everything we can see is just froth on the surface of an invisible ocean that's quietly pulling the universe apart, 1 second at a time. Number 1, which brings us to the single most impossible thing we've found out there. In 2013, astronomers mapping the locations of the most violent explosions in the cosmos, gamma-ray bursts, stumbled onto a structure so large it shouldn't be able to exist. A vast wall of galaxy clusters stretching across the sky between the constellations Hercules and Corona Borealis. Its size defies comprehension, roughly 10 billion light-years across, more than a tenth of the entire observable universe. And that's the problem. The foundation of modern cosmology says no structure should be able to grow beyond about 1.5 billion light-years, because gravity simply hasn't had enough time since the Big Bang to assemble anything bigger. The universe is only 13.8 billion years old. By every classical equation, this wall has not had enough time to be born, and yet there it is. Scientists are still arguing over it. Some say it's a statistical fluke in how the bursts were sampled, but the structure refuses to disappear from the data. It hangs over modern physics as a direct challenge, an object that breaks the rules we built the universe's story on. And that's the truly terrifying part. Not that we found something enormous, but that we found something that, by everything we think we know, should not exist. We grew up believing the stars were everything, that the bright points in the sky were the whole story. But almost everything that actually shapes the universe is hiding in the dark between them. Exiled stars, invisible scaffolding, blazing voids and structures that shouldn't exist. The empty space turns out to be the part we understand the least. If this rewired how you see the night sky even a little, take a second to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss what's next. And tell me down in the comments which one of these unsettled you the most. I'll see you in the next one.